go?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Popa, you're clearly a musician influenced by rock and roll. Which bands did you listen at most?
It's a difficult question.
Yeah.
Because my listening keeps changing throughout the years, but I always go back to the classics. You know, I listen to a lot of jazz, a lot of bebop, a lot of Miles Davis, Sonny Rollins, Jimmy Smith, stuff like that. Coming up with rock, it's always Jimi Hendrix, a lot of Led Zeppelin when I was a kid, Rolling Stones, you know, good stuff.
Yeah. I read the definition about you. Stooges meets Buddy Guy, Motörhead meets Muddy Waters, and Jimi Hendrix meets Robert Johnson. It's fantastic, you know, because, I mean, you're not afraid to use heavy sounds.
No.
Can you talk about that heavy sound that I love?
Well, it's what I grew up with, man. I grew up listening to Black Sabbath and Motörhead, you know,
Yeah.
so... And then I discovered the blues, and I realized that there wasn't that much distance between the two. When you really think about it, the distance between Muddy Waters and Motörhead is not that great. You know, Motörhead was a blues band. They were playing blues when they, you know, always.
Yeah.
The same thing with Black Sabbath, man. All those guys were influenced by the blues. The blues is the roots of everything. But, you know, I like the heavy sound, too, so it all comes together.
Yeah. In 2006, you recorded Electric Chubland, and thank you so much for signing my CD. A great Hendrix tribute. Man, what a punch, you know, I'm from judo, but what a punch. Can you talk about Hendrix in your life? Because I think it's very, 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 very important.
I remember the first time I heard Jimi Hendrix, I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
And back then, the radio, where I grew up, played everything. So first Frank Sinatra came on the radio, and then Jimi Hendrix, Purple Haze. And I remember being 7 years old and going, what is this, man? And I remember being a kid and how everybody was very upset about Jimi Hendrix because it was like an alien coming to Earth, you know? It was acid rock, it was, you know. And then when I grew up and I started playing guitar, man, and I discovered Jimmy, man, it was just pure soul. It was pure expression of soul, man. And it just touched my spirit. It's remarkable how much work keeps coming out for Jimmy. There's always something new, and it's great. You know, he only lived 27 years. He made such a body of work.
Yeah. Let's come back to rock and roll influence. You're from New York, right? Yeah. Land of Velvet Underground and the beginning of that whole scene, punk scene, you know? And it's curious because in the 60s, New York was this intellectual folk scene.
Right.
And a couple of years after, that come all that dirty sound, the punk sound.
Well, in between the folk scene of the 60s, rock and roll happened. And then rock stars got to be big slobs. By the end of the 70s, bands like Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones were in sad shape. They sucked. The 70s was the worst time. The end of the 70s, Led Zeppelin was gone. They couldn't play.
Yeah.
The Rolling Stones were on heroin. Punk rock was a reaction to that.
And all
Punk rock said anybody could be in a band.
Yeah.
You don't even have to play.
Yeah. And all the potential progressive rock, you know, with 30-minute songs and keyboard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's too boring, you know. Great musicians, of course,
stuff,
but
you know,
yeah, but
whatever. There's a place for everything.
yeah. Which are your favorite punk bands?
Well, that's it depends on what you call punk. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it really started. Punk started. There was pre-punk. There were people who were punk before there was punk, like Lou Reed. But when punk started with a magazine. It started with a magazine created by a guy named Legs McNeil. There was a music scene happening in New
Please
York.
kill me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know Legs very well.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Before that, there was Lou Reed. Lou Reed was punk before there was punk. The MC5, bands like that. The Dictators, another band. Very influential New York City band, rock and roll band, the Dictators. And then punk happened. And, you know, Ramones, Patti Smith, Richard Hell, the list goes on, man. It was great, a great time. You know, the Sex Pistols were great. Over in the UK,
Yeah.
Started in New York.
Yeah, yeah.
Then it went to California, man. You know, and you had bands like Black Flag and DRI, you know.
And near there, Washington, Bad Brains, you know?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Bad Brains were the greatest, one of the greatest bands that ever happened.
Yeah. Spicer with Animal. Yeah.
I was there at the very beginning when the Bad Brains happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the original Bad Brains?
I was in a band called Blood Clot that we were roadies for the Bad Brains.
Fuck, really?
Yeah, from day one when they came to New York. The guy in my band was the guy who brought the Bad Brains to New York. His name was Jerry Williams, and he recorded their first record, the one with the lightning bolt on the cover.
Yeah.
I was there when that was recorded. I saw every Bad Brains show in New York. Everyone, the first one.
Nice, man.
It was amazing. It was like, there was punk rock before the Bad Brains,
Yeah.
and punk rock after the Bad Brains.
And as they say, it's jar rock, right?
It's another story. There were some messed up dudes, but the music was amazing.
Yeah. Once you said the blues is dangerous. Explain that, please.
When the blues started in the South, it was played by black men in clubs where white men didn't go. What happened in those clubs, white men didn't know about. Sometimes people were murdered. When somebody was murdered, they threw the body outside and the band kept playing.
It's like Rio de Janeiro nowadays.
Exactly. Exactly. But that danger came out in the music. You feel the danger. You hear the songs. Listen to the song I'm Ready by Muddy Waters. I've been smoking TNT, drinking dynamite. Hope some schoolboy want to start a fight because I'm ready.
Yeah. And talking about the blues, which are your favorite bluesmen?
Well, Freddie King would have to be number one.
Yeah.
He's the best. I think Freddie King was the link between rock and blues. All the Kings, B.B. Albert, Freddie, Hubert Sumlin was a big influence on me. A lot of different guys, man. A lot of great players in the blues. A lot of different styles.
I read about that Fred King was in a tour with Grand Funk Railroad, and the Grand Funk public went insane, you know?
Yeah, Freddie was the shit, man. He was badass.
Yeah. Can you talk about your last CD, Universal Breakdown Blues?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of past that now because I just made a new CD for my 25th anniversary.
Okay.
But that was a fun record to make, man. I think it was a really good record. It was a step forward for me. I really incorporated the blues with the rock on that one, so it's really heavy, but it's very blues at the same time. And every record is an experience, you know, it's an adventure. It's a slice of your life, so you try and do it and do the best you can.
Yeah. And do you love rock and roll, Motörhead, but do you consider a record an acoustic blues album? Rock and roll, man.
Not for a whole record. Maybe one or two songs. But a whole record, you know. I like acoustic guitars, but I want to turn it up, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.